Welcome to Warrior Class,
where the teachers will pass.
And you will too if you pass.
This episode is Sisters Self-Protection. And so we'll be dealing with self-defense, survival, and self-defense survival issues that are specific to the concerns of women and girls. Okay, so we're going to start with we're going to do things a little different today. We're going to start with our guest, and then we'll hit the news. Okay, and then Ominiki is going to teach us on sisters' concerns for survival and preparedness. Everything fall down. There's certain things that sisters must know. Well, not just fall down. We
Shift situation.
Right, and like now, especially like last year when we were all locked down for quarantine and different things like that, right? So we'll be getting into those things, and we may get into some techniques that sisters are most concerned with, depending on what our time is. Okay, we always deal with techniques, so there's always going to be time for it. So we're going to bring in our guest. Okay, there are a lot of organizations that are teaching self-defense and individuals that's teaching self-defense to women and girls. Many are taught by martial art instructors who have no understanding of the actual dangers to sisters and their concerns in regard to how to protect themselves and their loved ones. Okay. Today, our guest is a sister who is concerned with helping sisters to protect themselves, one who understands those actual dangers and is doing something about it. Brittany Russell, also known as the head lioness, founder of Protected Melanin, LLC, is a firm believer in empowering women to not only stand up, but to speak up for themselves and become the rescue they need. Brittany says, no longer should we be in fear when walking down the street alone or when leaving the bar unattended by a male figure.
Her mission and goal for Protected Melanin is to empower women to walk anywhere in the world with confidence, grace, and agility.
It is our honor to present self-love and life coach, content creator, and activist Brittany Russell to Warrior Class. Let's give another.
We'll get our sound effect game up.
Right. We get it. We play some bang, 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 bang.
Good morning. Thank you guys. That was amazing. Thank you.
No, thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well.
That's good. It's nice to see you all.
Good to see you.
Great to have you.
How's your week been?
Oh, it has been long. Very, very busy, but very productive. So I won't complain. I'm very happy right now. How about you guys?
Oh, really good. Really good. Great week.
Good. I'm excited to be here.
Working and so let's get down to it.
Okay.
What got you interested in self-protection?
Well, in a nutshell, basically my own personal experiences, and just noticing, with, self-educating, and I moved to Atlanta by myself. I didn't have any family or anybody out here. I moved out here by myself from Indiana. And, for most people, when you're moving to a new big city compared to Indianapolis, Indiana, you just want to do your research about what you're walking into. And I realized there was a lot of things going on. And then also we have a lot of things happening with Black women where we're coming up missing. No one's talking about it. We're being attacked at an alarming rate and no one's talking about it. It's not making those major news, networks and things like that. And so I just felt like the best thing I could do was to put something in place. Even though I'm way down here, I can put something in place to help women at least have a fighting chance, if that makes sense. Yeah.
How did you come up with the name Protected Melanin? And what does it mean, like, to you, that name?
Protected Melanin. Honestly, I received a lot of backlash from my peers, from some peers about the name.
We always mad about something.
A lot of people felt that it wasn't as inclusive to every woman, and I thought of it that way, but at the same time, we have to realize that other races of women are being protected. They're being protected. They have that shelter, and like I said again, a lot of things are happening to Black women, and we're not being protected. So I wanted to key in on making sure that my customers understand, especially Black women, because that's what my line is catered to, that you are protected. I want to protect your melanin. I'm protecting our melanin, and these are the ways that we can do that. So that's pretty much what that is. I mean, I came up with it after I thought about it for a very long time, just if I was going to go through with it, and if I was going to, because I'm like, I don't want to be targeted. I don't want, people to think I hate other races of people or anything like that, because how that days. But at the end of the day, I went ahead and went with it, and I received so much love when I go out and I talk to women, and they like, oh, I love this name. That's so unique. That's so creative. I love this idea, and it just it's the confirmation that I need. It makes me feel so much.
I'm glad you stuck with the name and didn't let the pressure of trying to be inclusive and you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Be direct for us, because that's what we, like you said,
that's what we need. That's exactly what we need.
Absolutely. What items does Protected Melanin offer?
All right. So we offer a number of different pieces of protective equipment. We have self-defense knives. They're discreetly disguised. We have disguised stun guns. We have pepper spray. We have Cubiton sticks, like cute little keychain accessories that no one would even think is a piece of protective equipment. Yet if it's used properly, you can really get someone off of you. You can really do some damage if you use it the right way. So we also offer courses and events, like we have, the ladies in self-defense. We have brunch at the gun range. We do all sorts of things, pop-up shops and all sorts of things. But as far as equipment go, we have the stun guns, just a different variety. So that way there's something for everyone to be comfortable with using.
Okay. Can you go more in depth with the actual classes that you offer? I know you just named 2. Are there others that you offer?
Not at this time. So at this time, we only have the brunch at the gun range and ladies in self-defense. Ladies in self-defense is where we have our instructor here. We have Baba. He comes in and he does an excellent job with teaching our ladies how to protect themselves if someone, comes in, tries to grab them from behind, choking, and, try and prevent sexual assault and things of that nature. And just any other thing that we can think of, that would be great for them to know at that time. The classes are pretty much like, I guess, whatever our instructor is feeling at the time, but they're all worthwhile. As far as brunch at the gun range, we take a group of women, we take them to the gun range. We teach them how to load their gun, how to hold a gun, how to mark and aim at their target, how to, just pretty much use the gun properly if ever they found themselves in an event where they needed to pull a gun. Because we have a lot of women out here who will go out and purchase guns, and then they'll put them in a drawer and they will never look at them again because they're afraid of them. So the brunch at the gun range is really trying to just break that ice and get our women of color, because other races of women, they're being trained from a young age all the way up. And we need to get on board with that. So it's just really to break that ice and get them more comfortable with defending themselves if ever they need to, instead of being the victim, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Now, we always hear or read about how great it is to pursue your passion, but we know from experience that it's not always easy. At least I know. Overall, would you say things have been easy for you?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I get turned away and turned down more than I can count. A lot of this is all self-funded. Everything is self-funded. Let me say that. And I get turned away a lot. A lot of people don't even want to be, like, if I wanted to go for, assistance with funding and things of that nature, just to get me an actual like storefront or something where I can have my instructors come to me and host my groups and things like that, I get turned away because a lot of people don't even want to be a part of it because it's just such a touchy topic to even, to be a part of, if that makes sense. So
Do you think that?
no.
Do you think it's that way because you're a woman or because you're a Black woman?
Yeah.
Focusing on Black women,
I
or
think
a little bit of both.
I think it's both. And I think because for some reason, a lot of people, and it's unfortunate to say, a lot of people of other races, and even some of our people feel, I'm not going to say intimidated, but when we're trying to level up and do better and be a positive influence on our communities and things like that, that positive effect can be intimidating to some people. So they rather not be a part of it. At least that's how it's to me.
You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it. I'll say it. Intimidated.
Yeah, it's intimidating because, I think it's just the threat of knowing how good we could be. And I say that all the time. If we all just get together and do what we're supposed to do, it will be nothing that could stop us. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, in a nutshell, no, it has not been easy. It's been very hard. It's been
One thing I want to say that you mentioned too is about buying a gun and putting it in your drawer. Men do the same thing too.
Yeah.
Just like you said, it's a woman thing, but men do this. Even before I got with Bob in my training, I had plenty of guns. I'm from the country. Never knew how to clean one of them. Ever cleaned one in my life. They just sit there. So
they sit there. They sit there. I had a woman come, she had a gun and it sat in her drawer for like 3 or 4 years, she said. She came to my course and when she first held the gun, because we start them off with like a 22 and then we go up to a 9 and then we go up to rifles and we just keep moving up so that way they can get more and more comfortable handling different sizes of guns. And when we started her off with just a 22, like to the point she dropped the gun. Like she dropped it after she fired it because she was so scared of that recoil that, that comes back. And after a while, by the time we were done, it's a 2-hour course. By the time we were done, I'm like, okay, so how do you feel? She was just like flying through it like it was nobody's business. And she was so appreciative of the opportunity. And that's what makes me feel like I accomplished something, if that makes sense.
You definitely did.
Yeah.
Did.
So what's next for you in Protected Melanin?
What's next? Honestly, you guys, I'm trying to get a storefront. That's what I'm working on. I want my own location. I'll have a lot more freedom to do the things that I really want to do. So that's what I'm working on, just trying to get the business credit and do all of these things and put all of these different things in place, get a good, secure team in place that can help me run it because it takes an army. And if I'm being honest, I am doing a lot of it by myself. And so I literally just made a post the other day and I'm going to start hiring some help. So that way I can keep this ball rolling and keep us going in the direction that we need to go in, because we need to have access to these types of things, especially with everything that's going on in society right now, all of these cases of women being, murdered and things like that. We need to have access to these types of things.
Now, what's the best way to contact you for your classes, for your items that you have and everything?
Okay. So there's several ways. The main point of contact would be going directly to the website, which is protectedmelanin.com. We pop right up on Google. All of your search engines will pop right up. So that's protectedmelanin.com. And then you also can find us on Instagram at shop.protected melanin. We're on Facebook at Protected Melanin. And then if all else fails, you can always reach me on my personal page, which is head.linus, and that's on Instagram. But the best line of contact would be going directly through the website. You can find all of your protective equipment. You will be able to RSVP for our courses and events and know when we're doing events in the city, like pop-up shops and things like that. We also offer curbside pickup as well. That's an option that people are able to take advantage of for those inner city customers. But yeah, directly to the website would probably be the best bet.
Now, one question: if I'm not a woman, I am a man. So just to say, I want to purchase items off of your page for my wife or my daughter, or even for myself. Maybe I want to, I don't know.
Or a significant other whose birthday is coming up very soon. Could be something like that.
I think
Is,
no.
is it any like? So it's okay. A man can come on the site, and then you're not gonna like ask for a picture ID and be like, no, bro.
Absolutely. You know what? It's so crazy because I have a lot of men who shop with me and buy for their significant others. When I do pop-up shops, men stop because they're just so intrigued that a woman is doing this. And I ask them, is there any special woman in your life that you want to keep protected? That's the question that I asked them. And they be like, you know what? My daughter is about to go to college. Let me go ahead and grab something for her. Or my wife does travel a lot by herself. You absolutely can. Like it's no gender, requirement, but I specifically cater to women of color. That's my target audience that I cater to. Yeah, but you're more than welcome. Any man, woman, whatever. As long as you're 18 and over, you can shop with me.
I heard that.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So thank you. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
We'd like to have you back on. We're going to be doing probably quarterly different segments for sisters specifically.
Okay.
So we would love to have you.
Maybe showcase some of those tools you got.
Right,
I was
exactly.
thinking that, yeah.
You know what? I didn't know how much time we had this morning. And I actually am in the middle of work right now, but love to come on and show you guys some of the things that we offer. I'm going to I was just ordering new inventory last night. So I'll be updating the website here within the next couple of hours with new product and things like that. But I would love to showcase whatever you guys would like to see.
Great.
Okay, well, actually, I want to do a live sister symposium.
Okay.
And so we would love to have you there, do a pop-up shop and have your items there.
Yes, absolutely. Let's make it happen. I'm all for it. You let me know the date and I will make myself available.
All right. So hit me up when we're ready to do the sisters self-defense class.
Okay.
We're ready. Belay is a full instructor now, so he'll probably be there with me.
Okay, congratulations.
Yeah, so he'll probably be, there with me on that. So we look forward to seeing it. Thank you. This was great.
Thank you.
You be safe out there, and I know you're keeping yourself safe and the sisters safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Likewise, you guys. You guys have a good one.
All right, you
Thank
too.
sis.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Man, that was good. That was good.
Great. I would have loved to see some of the products. I was going to say the same thing. So.
Yeah, no, I've seen her. She has some great stuff, and yeah, go to that website. You'll see there's some great things there. And some of them are real cutesy. For the sisters.
That's strategy.
Now, brothers better not be walking around with the Cooper time with the pom pom on it.
That's strategy, whether it's a man or
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, hell, guess what? No,
That would throw someone completely.
That would.
With some glittery
right
pom pom. Yeah,
smack them. It still works. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of ways for people off. You got to pick and choose what you want. Your strategy yourself.
Right. Well, what's funny though, and I was joking about it is some cutesy thing, but a lot of times brothers won't use lotion and different stuff because they think that's not manly, right? When I was older, this one brother who I knew, younger than me, always had the roughest hand. It was terrible, right? And I said, brother, why don't you hit some, lotion? And before he could say anything, his woman said, men don't wear lotion. I said,
maybe that's what he told me.
I got some lotion on right now, I joke about shea butter. I joke about shea butter soldiers. I wear shea butter. Yeah.
You can't be this complexion and not have no type of something on your skin. You're going to look bad.
Well, somebody told me once, somebody my complexion can't get ashy. That's a damn lie. I get ashy too. So
get like this ashy, but
I'm not like Ashy Larry, no, but I will get ashy. If y'all don't know who Ashy Larry is, I hate to even mention it because right now. Muggs is warring over Dave Chappelle. So on the old Dave Chappelle show, there was a character, Ashley Larry. Don't get mad at me. Or what they say now? Don't at me.
Right. Don't cancel me.
Definitely don't cancel me. Lord.
The best thing Dave Chappelle said is they try to talk shit about me on Twitter. He said they try to cancel me on Twitter. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Twitter ain't a real place.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that was a funny one. That's true.
Think about it.
Really, all these keyboard karate matches and all of that online. McDojos are real. You can walk into a McDojo, right? In McDojo, it's like McDonald's. 48 billion, however many they've served. You go in McDojo, you'll walk into a McDojo and you'll see a 6-year-old black belt teaching class. Little 6-year-old teaching class needs a little.
What's wrong with that, Baba?
What's wrong with that? Well, he's 6 years old, so he doesn't have maturity teaching class. Maybe, I got some pretty intelligent children. None of them were mature enough at 6 to be teaching adults. Or maybe they can teach children, but adults, maybe children their age and younger. But also, whatever you are or claim to be, you best be ready to live up to any challenges that come. Okay?
Right.
If an adult walks into a school with 6-year-olds and they say, little boy, I whoop your ass. That's probably true. You probably whoop that little boy's ass. So he can't meet up to the challenge of a man. So that's really ridiculous on so many levels. Now, I was training from the time I was 4 years old. I would run roughshod over children in my school who were, older than me, even not that by that much. Right. You know what I mean? But like anybody in my grade, I was in kindergarten at 4. Anybody in my grade, they would catch it, and I would, set them up, do a flying kick on me, just because I want to see what to do against fly. It was really bad. What to do against flying kick? They do the flying kick, and I come up and grab them, boom, that kind of stuff. Throw them. My godmother was the vice principal, so she would whoop my ass. I hear that, I know I'm in trouble. She saw me throw somebody. She would, you don't do that to people. You're training, you don't do that, And I was like, she just don't understand. I tell my father, she don't understand. He's like, she's right. Why are you setting people up to just be, beating them up? So, so I wasn't mature. I'm doing that. I wasn't mature enough to be teaching nobody. I've been setting up my students. Do this here. Boom! That kind of stuff. And there are adults who do that stupid shit. Yes, so children. So there's so many reasons, So any news? I know we have plenty of news with the craziness that's been going on.
So coming from off of what she was just talking about women's safety. So we know that there's, for the past couple of years, there's been this a number that they say 79,000 Black women and Black girls missing. Well, recently, a few articles been coming out of St. Louis, Missouri, not news articles rather, but Black women actually taking to social media because there isn't a lot of press being covered about the fact that Black women are being killed in St. Louis. They don't know. One girl said serial killer, like Baba said. That's kind of you stretching it with that, but definitely a killer or some group or whatever has definitely been executing Black women all through St. Louis. So this is something we definitely should be concerned about. We want to get the word out and just let people know to be concerned. If you have people, women, children that in that area, alert them if they don't already know what's going on, so they can take proper precaution. And if you're in the area, let us know what you're hearing about it, because, like we said, it's not getting a lot of media. It's not getting any media coverage. But from what I'm hearing, people that's actually from there, they definitely are saying that they're seeing it and they're witnessing it. So that's one thing.
Well, let me say something real quick about
Yes, sir.
serial killer, because I know people say, well, it is a serial killer. He killed a bunch of serial killers. So there's a difference between a serial killer, mass murderer, all those things, right? It's not a mass murderer because of where they're killing, but they're saying, they're killing back to back, day after day, finding murder. That would not be a serial killer, because a serial killing is a sickness. Okay. If a person has pancreatic cancer, there are going to be some differences, slight, but they all have certain criteria to say, okay, you got pancreatic cancer. You're going to feel this way. You're going to act this way. That's known, right? Well, with serial killers, there are 7 phases that they go through from the time that they spot the person they want to be their victim to the time when they actually victimize them, murder them. There are 7 phases that they are going to go through, and that does not waver. You can tell a serial killer. So there's the ritual in that to keep things simple without going through the 7. There's a ritual. So as I was talking about earlier, you have a person, the police find a body that's dead. It's been obviously murdered, and there's a quarter on his forehead. So, okay, that's strange. A week later, or 2 weeks later, usually 2 months, really. They find another dead body. Let's say a month later, another dead body with the quarter on his forehead. It's a man. It's a black man. Let's say a white man with a quarter on his head. First one. Second one, white man with a quarter on his head. Third one, white man quarter. And you say, okay, that's a coincidence. That's a strong coincidence. Third time, white man quarter on his head. They said that's a serial killer, because the ritual is the same. Now, the 4th time you find a white man dead, he has a penny on his head. That's probably not related. That's probably a copycat. Okay, who didn't understand the ritual, because he's not the actual person who did it, because the ritual would not change. That would be a quarter too, because that all means something. Okay.
It's woke, man.
Right. So serial killers, we watch movies and stuff, so we be flippant with what things we say. That's a serial killer. It's key that distinction is made, because if you're looking for a serial killer, or you're looking for a group of people who are killing, which is probably the case in that,
Right.
Sex trafficking.
you got to make sure you're looking for the right thing.
Right.
Okay, because they may be check those women. They may be missing certain things and that may give you clues to who's doing it.
Loose with our vocabulary.
We very, and that's because a lot of times we're lacking when it comes to, particularly when it comes to self-defense, we're lacking in knowing what to say. So, because a lot of us think that we really know how to defend ourselves. I talked about it before, because that's key. It was key to long ago, and even now, of being able to protect myself and my family, key to survival, right? And so since that's so key, and it's intrinsic to who we are, particularly when you have family.
I never heard no man say, I can't fight with that.
Right. And so, and no man will, because, and there's plenty who can't.
I'm bad at sex.
Right. And there's plenty who, once again, who are. So, but we don't say that because sex keeps us here. It's our very existence depends on that. And so if we're weak at that, then we feel we're weak as human beings, let alone as men. And then those, and not just men, women too will say, I can protect, my family, I can get down, because they know how important that is to be able to protect your children, to be able to protect yourself, to be able to protect your loved ones. And so, yeah, most won't say it, but most, they won't say that they suck at, they can't fight out of a wet paper bag, they can't protect themselves, let alone their family. They're not going to admit that. Most of the time, that's the truth. So, and it's so clear as the truth, we don't have the vocabulary to speak the thing because we don't know the thing. Okay. But so that's our job while we're here, right? To educate our people and continue to educate ourselves, right?
Yeah, bro.
So, yes, I teach indigenous African martial arts, but I'm not closed off to, which is another reason you can have a 6-year-old, because a 6-year-old will be closed off. They learned it this way. God damn it, that's the way, right? I'm not closed off to other systems if they make sense. And if they don't make sense, I'm also old enough and don't give two shits enough to say so. You know what I mean? Because our lives depend on being able to survive. You don't really hear me dogging other systems, but you're not going to hear me praising other systems if it's garbage either.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? So people say, why don't you have so-and-so on? If I don't have them on there, if you never see them on there, it's probably because they're garbage. And I'm not going to give you garbage. Okay? So when we say we want this person on, we're thinking in terms of, okay, this has to be a person that's a guest that's valuable to the people.
Incredible, yes.
And so that's why I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't find all these great folks every week. It takes me a minute, you know. I gotta, this person, I gotta think back to, this person's history or look at their history, you know.
If I don't know, gotta match up.
Schedule's gotta match, and I gotta have time to research these folks if I don't know them personally, because their politics gotta be in line with our politics too.
And with that, they gotta be the kind of person that feels comfortable on camera.
It's true.
Not everybody.
Well, everybody at least they fake like they comfortable.
Right.
They about to put their pants, they so nervous. But now I'm gonna tell you, friend of mine, close friend of mine, will not name him, close friend, but he says, well, he married a white woman, right? And I said, you love black women so much, well, why'd you marry, this white woman? He said, because that brings him more martial arts students. He will never be on the show. His politics are jacked. He's a friend of mine. I love him, but his politics are screwed. That bring me more students. So,
damn,
you want more students. First of all, it's not true that a white secretary or front desk manager will bring you more students. That's not true.
Maybe more acting jobs.
Huh?
I said maybe more.
Yeah, baby. Right. But also, though, you just married this woman because she's gonna bring you more students, not because you really love her and stuff like that. That's a whole nother level jacked up.
Man,
that's jacked up.
Yo, it's real quick. We gonna go into this piece of news before we get this, man.
I have another piece of news.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
We so screwed up, man. When I had a waterfront eatery, so I used to be a restaurant owner. When I had the restaurant and I let my friend, I'm gonna say your name, D, because I know he ain't watching. My closest friend, I used to be out there in the street when I was younger. So my homeboy came, he looked at the restaurant, he was overjoyed, he couldn't believe that because we did, you know what I'm saying? Anybody from where we come from, we got something. I never thought I had anything like that. So he's looking at the restaurant, unbelievable, and then he's looking at the pictures that I got around. And he's like, man, I swear to God, I thought he was joking. He said, man, you got to put some pictures of some white folks up in here, man. I did just like that. I'm laughing, and I keep on going, and he's like, you got to put some white folks up in here, man. Wow. What's gonna happen when white folks come in and see all these black people in here, man? You got to put some, you serious? You gonna put no? You crazy or something? You just gonna have all these black people in here? How you gonna? The folks gonna shut you down? Yo, the mentality, like he was dead ass, He might be kind of crazy, but he's a regular dude. But that's how effed up our brain is.
Shout out to Dee Dee.
Yeah, real quick on that too. My brother, when we talk about the mindset, my brother told me one time he does nothing aggressive. He don't even eat garlic because it's an aggressive plant. So we're a little gone now. I'm with you if you're crazy enough to say, okay, I want to learn this thing, because people have said this to me too. I want to learn this thing, and I'm not with you, but I can rock with you. I want to learn so I can build an army. I was like, well, okay, I got to keep my eye on him, but he's a little dangerous. But at least he's willing to fight. You tell me you're not fighting. And this brother who told me this stuff, no, I'm not going to say his name. He's an attorney. He's 6'5". He weighs about 280 of muscle. He's the Hulk.
It's not Kamau.
Definitely not Kamau. He's like 5 Kamau. Shout out to Kamau. You put Kamau, Jared, and Kalandri together, and the ear doctor, and they wouldn't be nowhere near the size of this dude.
Wow.
And it was he probably like 10% body fat, if that.
Wow.
He built for the fight, and he's like, you don't do no fighting. And his woman the way she treated him, she didn't respect him.
The outside was built for the fight.
Right. The inside was like, this is the main thing.
Right. That's the thing. That's why they gravitate and latch on to our minds.
Right. And that's where the mind has to be ready to survive. Because if your mind's not ready to survive, even if you know all the techniques in the world, you're not going to use them. Your mind has to be there. Okay. All right. So other news. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is just kind of to piggyback on what Vila was talking about, because it's not necessarily a current event story, but in California, I believe in the LA area for years, there was Black women and, other sort of, I guess, marginalized groups of women disappearing. And it was a very similar situation where I think it was in the 80s. It wasn't being reported because these weren't respectable women. Some of them were prostitutes.
I remember that.
But it was women who were just disappearing for years and years, and they just found the person supposedly who did all of it.
They did a documentary. They told the dude had like a van or something like that.
I guess
was he a white dude?
No, he was black, and the police wasn't trying. Because they talked about. I seen that documentary. The police was like, "Yo, he got caught. And they basically was gonna let him go." It's like, "Yo, he ain't killing them prostitutes." The LAPD is like, "You ain't killing up prostitutes, ain't no big deal."
Now, when I was young, this dude had a woman in the car, and at first, it seems they're having sex, and so I was like, "Man, they're gonna bring the white dude and a Mexican woman, right?" I said, "You're gonna bring this woman over here, and they're having sex." Telling my boy, "Man, let's run these mother out of here." And as I'm going down the stairs, she looks up. She's mouthing help. I said, "Oh shit!" And my boy sees it too. He said, "I think this isn't sex. This is a rape situation." So I go up to the window. He gets a brick. I go up to the window. He walks around the other side. I said, "Hey, dude, what y'all doing?" Like that. The guy said, "Get the fuck away from here." I said, "Excuse me, what are y'all doing? What's going on?" Distracting him, and my boy smashed the window. And when he does that, I run around there with him, and we drag that dude out, right? I reach in, open the door, she gets out. She runs across the street naked. She runs to this tavern across the street called Ogden Avenue, which is 8 lanes, cars swerving and jive. So because she's so distraught. She runs in there. Me and Anthony, we lay some loving hands on boy. And then we go and go to the tavern, make sure she's okay. And people tell us, we call the police, brawl, sitting off on the side, right, I said, "Why y'all, acting like that? The sister don't have no clothes. They ain't covered her, nothing."
Oh, get out.
And they said, "Well, man, y'all step out. Y'all too young. to be in here, we weren't old enough to be in the tavern. We'll talk to the police. So police come. They come out. They put her in the car. Ambulance puts him in the ambulance. And they said, you all the guys who did that? I said, yeah. He said, all right, old white cop. He said, yeah, that was good that you fellas did that, protecting them. Good you didn't kill them, no, because you'd be in trouble. So then I said, well, how is she? He said, don't worry about her, guys. Don't worry about it. I said, don't worry about it. Guys, raping, that's what this whole thing is about. He said, she's a prostitute. Don't worry about it. I said, a prostitute can't be raped. He said, go home right now. He was pissed that I even questioned that. Wow. Bro, I said, a prostitute can't be raped. He said, go home right now.
That's sad.
Yeah. So they didn't care about that lady.
Right. Yeah.
That's
why they went down.
And that dude got off, I'm sure, because she a prostitute. Who cares? So that's some deep shit.
One thing did you have it
well, I was just gonna say Kim Brown, Burn It Down, Kim Brown, she's also on the Remix Morning Show. Kim Brown had mentioned, she said on her Twitter, there was a case about a sister. So, we looked at the case. The sister says Sunday night at around 11:30 p.m. This is Sister Maya Angelique. She says, I checked into the Cambria Hotel on Q Street in Washington, D.C. I was in the shower at around 1 a.m. when a man with dreadlocks, or dreads, wearing a blue shirt, jeans, and a mask, tried to violently break into my room. He somehow had a key to open my room door. She says that she was in the shower. This door, she said, a man really tried to break into my hotel room and kept trying to slam the door stop off the wall by hitting it with the door, repeatedly screaming, open the fucking door, then ran down the hallway when she pushed the door closed. She was in the shower, and of course she was naked. She was alone in the hotel room, right? Hotel management said it was housekeeping trying to come in your room at 1 a.m. and he's got on. He may have worked in housekeeping, like Ominiki said.
He's not in his official
capacity. Right. He may have been a house man who works with the housekeepers, right?
Housekeeping,
but 1 a.m. and then he's wearing jeans, a t-shirt, and then talking about open the fucking door. that even if he had on the uniform, open the fucking door. It's not the proper thing for a hotel staff to say, right? And at 1 a.m.
if he was properly dressed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, at 1 a.m.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And cursing, open the door at 1 a.m. is even if he said it, nicely, please open the door at 1 a.m. So it's odd, right? She said it was a random man with dreads, a mask, jeans, and a blue shirt on. If it wasn't so luckily, he didn't get in. She was able to, close the doors. He's trying to get in there and put that, the hotel lock thing, the door stop. He's trying to break it, Thankfully, the sister got away with her life. And, the dude left. But then you asked the hotel and they said, oh, that was just housekeeping. Like it was, nothing.
Yes.
So we'll be keeping you all updated on what goes on with that as we investigate that further.
And about that, be mindful, be aware. Always, besides locking your door, always realize the hotel, somebody else can have a key to it. You don't have to be the one with that in any hotel these days. So just besides locking your door, always put the what's that lock called at the top? Yeah, the security lock at the top. Sometimes it's two of them, but always use that. I mean, I'm a man. I still put that on because you just never know who can pop up in your room. The last piece, last piece is an article I saw on the 7th of October, and this happened to a woman. She actually didn't want her face shown, but she had video from the surveillance camera that she let people see. And this happened in the Bronx. It was a woman. She's speaking out now because she narrowly escaped after a man who was following her tried to break in her apartment. So it's a video that shows you guys may have seen it. It actually happened on the 23rd, but it didn't come out to the 7th. So police say a man followed this 50-year-old woman into her building before trying to get into her apartment. He gave up after she shut the door, and fortunately she was not hurt, but she's still shaken up. The victim, and I said the victim didn't want to be identified. So there were two guys outside when she was walking up, looking suspicious. He said they followed her inside the building, and she said they said, "Hey, miss," to her twice, and she ignored them. So right there is the first encounter with these people. Is at 2 a.m. You see two dudes outside, and they saying, "Hey, miss, hey, miss." Once you get out of their sight, if you got whatever tools you got, you need to be having them to ready to be used, because I would say, in my opinion, because you by yourself, I would actually say 2 o'clock in the morning, you getting out wherever your car, the train, you walking to wherever you're going, you should have whatever you need at the ready. You know what I'm saying? So you can handle that. So she said seconds later, all she knew, she got around the corner, she saw the dude coming at her quickly. She tried to open her apartment lock. Her instincts were spot on because the guys were coming to her. And she was just lucky. She said, I felt very scared. I was saying, what if I had the top door locked? What if I had the top door? You know, he could have gotten me. So she didn't have her both locks on. She only had one, so she was able to pop it open real quick, which that was just luck, because you would have it dead. If she'd have had to get her deadbolt open, she would have been out of time, which is more reason why I'm saying have your tools ready, because this was, by luck she got in there. If she wouldn't have got in at the split second that she did, no telling what would have happened. And people so crazy. The guy, we saw the video. The guy came around the corner. She got in the door. As soon as she closed, he was right at the door. Then he started calling for her. Hey, miss, excuse me. Can you go? But folks is shut out. So if you crazy enough to say, excuse me, miss, and still ask somebody to open the door after you done ran them down, don't tell them what that fool would do. So I just that story is not to scare you. Just like I'm gonna be posting a video, or you may see it in a warrior class, where a woman is being attacked. And the reason we posted it's an old video that we've posted before for I think a woman's workshop that we had before. And a lot of people thank us for posting that video, because we don't post a lot of fight videos, attack videos, but in our community, we really do. We're sometimes we really are oblivious to what's really going on in the world. So sometimes we need stuff like that to remind us that it's very unsafe out here. Not to be scared and work around, not to be worried, but to prepare better. To be more on top of things. So that's the reason why I'm gonna post it. That's the reason why I'm even giving you this story right here, so we can be aware and know that these type of things are happening every day around us, to us, people we love. You know what I'm saying? So we don't want to wait. We don't want to be the type of folks that wait till it happens and be like, I never thought this would happen. Like, that's not what you want to do.
And the solution, one solution, is to prepare yourself with the proper tools, with the proper training. That's the only solution I know. Somebody said to me one time, I was in the interview, somebody got in the interview, and they said, because they were asking me, different self-defense questions, obviously. And somebody says, the key for women's self-defense is not to teach women to defend themselves, but teach men not to harm them. I said, you got to do that. Teach their son. I said, I teach my son, but in the meantime, you best be preparing yourself.
Everybody
because even if everybody did, it takes time for men to change and boys to change. Right. So but in the midst of that shit, you best be training. You best be tooled up.
I don't know if you train you teach your son whatever. I'm still gonna teach my daughter, because the truth is, people gonna do what the fuck they gonna do.
And yes,
some people gonna be wicked.
We live in a society that is truly averse to women. We live in a society that I would even say hates women.
Definitely.
definitely disrespects women.
Yeah, but because you're in the European society, I'm gonna go ahead and say they hate women too.
And yes, but even well, we're a colonized society. It doesn't matter if you're in an African society.
No doubt.
That so even in a colonized society, the way the world looks at, and the world is colonized. The way women are looked at is secondary, punching bags for my bad day. You all are in much more danger of a physical attack than we ever would be as men. Okay. Prepare yourselves.
There's a group of women that she turned me on to this. There's a group of women, I don't know how big the group is, on social media, that are teaching other women that if you're out with your man or in any encounter and something was to pop off physically, they're teaching the women to fake like you faint and pass out.
Yes.
This is real shit.
That was brought to me, bro. That was brought to me. A person that learned that. They asked me the viability of that. People ask me the viability of many things, and that's probably the most ridiculous ever that I've ever been asked. And I've been asked some shit now. I've been asked, and y'all know that in class, can you stop a person from pulling the knife out with your chin? If they put the knife to your neck, you put your chin there and take it from. I've been asked some stuff, but that one, should I just faint? When I was first asked that, I laughed, but I'm looking at the person who asked me because it wasn't one of my students. I think y'all may be clowning. It was somebody else. I thought I had told y'all about this. And the sister's looking serious as a mug. And I brought it to her why that is not the smartest thing. Just certain people say that, but people say that about bears. A bear about to attack you, play dead. No, you're not gonna be playing dead in a minute.
And first of all, that only works. First of all, you're only even supposed to act dead on brown bear. That don't work on grizzlies. That don't work on other bears. So, and that don't.
And who? How many people have played dead on a brown bear to know that works?
Shit.
Right. You're gonna take that risk same way. A fool, boom, or not even hit you. I knock your teeth out, fall out. You say, "Oh, she fainted. Okay, let me leave." Well, you may wake up and say, "Well, you really did knock my teeth out." Oh boy!
Do you even know how to fall? Probably you fall and didn't hit your head. But
oh boy! You hit your head. You don't get to say woo. You out of here.
That's crazy. From every level, from every level, that's crazy.
Yeah, so don't do the fainting move and things of that nature. Right now, we're about to deal with some things that you should do. Ominiki is about to teach us on sisters' concerns and solutions to those concerns. So we're gonna give it over to Ominiki. And we'll get right into it. Do you need this space to put your stuff in?
No, I think I'm just gonna bring it up as I mentioned it. Okay. So this segment is for women's concerns as far as prepping goes. So we went over and talked about prepping just in general, things that we need, and I'll reinforce some of those things, but I'm not gonna go back over the things that we talked about the first time. This is specifically for women. The first thing that I want to say is that as far as hygiene goes, that's something, of course, that's important for everyone. And if we're in a scenario, what they call a SHTF scenario, when stuff hits the fan, I think basically in my research, I saw it spoken to a lot where people thought that that would be something that they would kind of have to let go or ignore. But one of the things that we've learned from Baba is that, you have to keep yourself clean, because after a certain amount of time, it starts to affect your sanity. And if you're in a situation where the fall has happened or just electricity has gone out, for some reason you don't have those type of resources available anymore, it becomes even more important for you to care for your mind and your mentality. So you want to make sure that you're keeping yourself clean.
Which explains a lot about Europe in the 1700s.
There you go. Like I said, that's important for men and women, but for women specifically, as far as hygiene goes, we know, of course, there are some additional things that women have to do. The most basic thing as far as hygiene goes is going to be access to clean water. So we know we've had, let's see, we have the water purification tablets.
No.
You have a question?
No. I was just going to say, if the audience is thinking, why are you talking about, preparedness, disaster preparedness, or urban survival preparedness, or you might want to call it, or just, well, I just want y'all to know, in China, they're talking about right now the blackouts that's happening, electricity blackouts and things of that nature. Well, they're predicting that stuff like that, those things that happen in America in the next month to come. Just so y'all know, they're predicting power, not on purpose, power outages to preserve energy in other places. They're already doing it in Texas. They're implementing what's happening all around China. They're doing it in Texas right now. So it's not like it's not happening. It's here already. So I just want
important.
Yeah, I just want people to be mindful.
So like I was saying, that access to clean water is going to be the first step. So we have the water purification tablets. There's also bottles that you can buy to keep clean, fresh water with you. And depending on the scenario, if you actually had to bug out, then you may have to find a clean body of water where you can do your certain daily maintenance that you need to do, washing clothes, of course, cooking. If you can find clean water close by, then that's going to be very important for your hygiene needs. Let's see here. So we'll just start with the most basic thing as far as hygiene goes, washing your face, brushing your teeth, and also being able to wash up and or take a bath. When you're in a survival scenario, you may not have the regular soaps that you're used to using as far as doing those particular things.
Smell is important too, because you can give away your location.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the smell. I didn't think about that. But something very basic that you can use is baking soda. Excuse me. Can't even see this.
That's my deal right there. You know what it is.
But right, yeah, baking soda. You can use it to brush your teeth. You can use it as a deodorant to keep your underarms dry. Excuse me. So baking soda becomes very important. Baking soda can be heavy, so you may not necessarily be able to keep a lot of this, but it's a good thing to keep with you or to try to have with you as far as your prepping needs go and cleanliness needs. Also, Castile soap, which you probably can't see this, but if you've ever had the Dr. Bronner's, it's very common, the peppermint one, if you see it at different grocery stores. But Castile soap actually is something that you can also use to brush your teeth. You can use it to wash your hair. For many years, I used Castile soap to brush my teeth, wash my hair, among other things. So I know that it works great. You don't end up having any type of long-term effects from using the Castile soap. So another form of Castile soap is a bar Castile soap. Which is something that you can use to clean your body and also your hair. Clothes. I'll go more in your clothes as well. You can use this as well to clean clothes. I'll go more in depth as far as the hair in a few minutes. But those are the things that you can use just to clean yourself as far as the basics go. Let's see. Actually, no, I can go to hair now. So you want to be able to wash your hair as a woman, but I would say that what I had envisioned, honestly, in a prolonged scenario where you're not able to go. I have had very long hair, and I know it takes a lot of maintenance. So I always thought that I would just cut all my hair, but hair keeps your head warm, so depending on what situation you're in, you may not want to do that. So again, with the Castile soap, you can use that. Baking soda also can be used to clean hair. Vinegar actually can be used as a conditioner. And of course, in cleaning vinegar, you can use to clean things as well. But we kind of went over that with the other prepping class. So keep that in mind. Basic things: baking soda, Castile soap, vinegar to help you stay clean. As far as your hair goes, also, one thing that you have to think about is if you're in a survival scenario, a ponytail or a afro puff is honestly kind of like a big handle that if someone's trying to harm you, they can grab you by, something that you're presenting on the very top of your head to them. So that's another thing that you have to think about, whether or not you want to keep your hair or if you want to maybe let your hair go so that you're able to do other things and not spend a lot of time trying to do maintenance on your hair. Let's see here. There is a part of women's prepping that we have to think about as far as embracing our femininity goes. And that is appropriate in a hair discussion as well. One of the things that I read about, and it's funny that Belay mentioned about the power outages, is that this is a scenario in war, and I can't remember the country that it was in, but there were times where if there was extra power or if there was like water running at that time, that the women would get together and go down to the hair salon and actually do each other's hair and kind of have like a maintenance ritual that they did. And I don't know if I would necessarily advise us getting together and going to a building, but if you have other women who are close to you in that particular scenario, I think it would be important for women to gather, maybe even do each other's hair or help each other maintain whatever they have going on as far as like cutting hair or whatever. So hair is important. One thing that I read, they actually talked about using clean, sanitized hair as sutures. I don't know how realistic that would be, but it's possible. So if you cut it, make sure you keep it because you might need it.
Good point.
One other very basic and very important thing for women is, I'm sure we all know, the menstrual cycle. It's not something that you really want to stop, though you can. If there are certain women who are on birth control, that you're able to actually stop yourself from having a cycle. And that might be preferable in a certain situation for a short period of time. But that's not something that you want to do continuously, especially if you want to keep a healthy reproductive system. So as far as the things that we normally use, like menstrual pads, tampons, if you want to continue with those, then that's something that you're going to have to stockpile. Because women know how much of those things that you tend to start using once you get into, your cycles. And if it's a prolonged period, you're going to have to stockpile them. So you have to think about having enough room to be able to keep those things clean and dry. One of the pros and cons. One of the pros as far as stockpiling those things is that they can be very handy in a scenario if you're having to trade with another group of people. Because if you think about at the beginning of COVID with the toilet paper and the paper towels and all of that, like there are some people who are not mentally preparing themselves for these scenarios. And they are really going to want those paper products and different things. So if you have a stockpile of maxi pads, if you have a stockpile of tampons, then you might be able to trade those things for something very valuable. So that's one good thing about stockpiling. But like I said, one of the bad things is that it would take up a lot of space, and you have to have a stable place to be able to keep those things, to keep them clean and dry. One of the things that I found really interesting as far as tampons go, I'm not very familiar with tampons, but I found
tampons, by the way.
You are? Okay. So after I'm done, we're going to go to B-Lane. He's going to give us some more information on tampons. But I actually found an article on all the additional uses for tampons that you can use in a survival scenario, as far as using them as a medical bandage. It talks about using them as fire tender. Talks about using the case as a waterproof match and tinder case.
Water filter.
Water filter. You can stop a nosebleed. You can use them as earplugs. The outer casing you can use as a straw, obviously, if it's clean.
Wick candle.
Right, that too.
I'm an expert on tampons.
Wow. You can also patch a hole in a tent.
Yeah.
You can use it for first aid outside of being a bandage. You can use it to apply ointments in a first aid situation. You can stop bleeding from the mouth. You can use it to stuff a wound as well. But it depends on the wound, because I've also seen where, we're told that you can put it in a bullet hole, but I guess it depends on the bullet hole. It may not necessarily be that realistic, but
that type of hole, I'm gonna put
like
it
I said, tampons are very useful. So, like I said, though you may not actually use these, or you may have prepared yourself to do something else, you may want to keep them with you so that you can use them for trading. Now, one of the things that this is kind of like a newfangled product, but some of the women may have heard of it. This is a Diva cup. It's obviously brand new. And these things you actually insert into your uterus, and they catch the blood that is coming down out of you. They have cups. There are flatter ones that are called discs, and supposedly they're wonderful. It's something that I'm learning more about now. But these things right here would actually keep you, it would be very easy to use them in a survival scenario, as far as keeping yourself clean and not having to deal with something every few minutes or maybe every hour or two. You have some time when you have these, because they actually fill up. The main thing about these, though, is that you have got to have a clean environment to be able to use them in. Your hands have to be clean prior to you actually using them, because you can cause different infections in the body because of the area of the woman's body that you're dealing with. You have to have clean hands when you're dealing with Diva cups and also the Diva discs. Or I'm sorry, Diva cup is the brand name of this, but that's not necessarily what they're called. They're just menstrual cups and menstrual discs. So you can look into those. And like I said, they're very long lasting. And I was thinking, just like Baba tells us with the knife, that you need to make sure that you have more than one. With these right here, I believe you need to make sure that you have at least two also. Because if this is your plan, as far as your menstrual cycle goes, then you want to make sure that you have a solid plan, and that if something happens and you lose one, that you still have something to move on with, because you don't want your menstrual cycle to be something that turns into a big fiasco, so that you're not able to do other things that are important in survival scenarios. As far as pain goes with the woman's cycle, this is something that I mentioned, but it bears repeating. I mentioned this in the other prepping video. This is cayenne pepper tincture. I use this. I used this recently. It's very hot, but not hot in the kind. It's not hot the way that you're thinking, but it's still hot. So you want to maybe put it in some water. If you have access to juice, you can do that. Sometimes I put it in an elderberry syrup. But this is very good for pain. In a few minutes, it will help pain subside.
Excuse me. As a man, I don't like talking when a woman is talking, but this is a question.
Sure. And
I'm ignorant in this. So some women may laugh at me, but are you putting that in your vagina or drinking that?
No.
Oh, okay.
You do not ever put this in your vagina. You want to put this in your enemy's vagina. You do not want to put this in your own vagina.
Oh, okay.
Dr.
I
Mo.
mean, wow, I can't even imagine.
That's why I was, confused. Okay.
But no, this is something that you just want to consume with some water, or like I said, a little bit of juice. And once it gets into your system, it helps pain subside. Other things that I've used before, wintergreen essential oil is something good that you can keep with you. It comes in, bottles small like this as well. Wintergreen is the smell that you smell when you're opening up Bengay. That's one of the things that they still can't act like they invented. They still have to put it in the thing, like eucalyptus. They have to put that in mouthwash and toothpaste. They just don't tell you that that's what's in there. But wintergreen, you can add it to a little oil, a little shea butter. You do have to put it in something, and then it's topical. You actually do rub it on on top of the area where you may be having the cramping or whatever pain that you're having. Wintergreen is good for that. Also, clary sage, which I haven't had recently, but clary sage essential oil is something about, I guess it calms the area. I did some research on that at one point, and I used it because I had it handy and it did work. So those are three things: cayenne pepper tincture, wintergreen essential oil, and also clary sage essential oil.
Clary sage is spelled
CLARY, and then sage, SAGE. So those are good. Clary, like I said, clary sage and wintergreen, you have to put into some shea butter or some type of oil and rub that on topically, but those do work very well. One thing I want to say about pain in particular, and something that I've learned as a woman and as a mother, is that sometimes it doesn't serve you to always be avoiding discomfort.
Good point.
And right, in a survival scenario, that's not the first time that you want to know what it feels like to have cramps. I didn't mention the taking pills. You can take the different pills, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, all those different things. But eventually, if it's a prolonged scenario, those things may run out. Those are also very good things to trade with. So you don't want to weaken your ability to trade with people to get things that you need, because you are dependent on having to take these particular pills to make the pain subside. Also, things like marijuana are good to help those particular pains subside. But the reason why I bring up the pain thing is, I'm just going to tell a short story. When I was in labor with my son, I didn't realize that I was in labor because it didn't feel it wasn't like the nightmare that you're told that it is. And I didn't take medicine. I didn't take, I didn't take those kinds of things. So I guess I was used to some pains. But what I realized when I was in labor is that a lot of women, even though they've had multiple children, they cannot describe to you what labor feels like, because everyone just wants to get drugs. Everyone just, even older women, if you, I can talk about my grandmother. My mother was born in the 50s. During that time, doctors gave you medicine that knocked you out. The women who had babies back then, if you ask them, they can't even remember, a lot of them. All they remember is waking up in the hospital with the child, because that's what you're told. That's what's put into your head as a woman, that you cannot deal with these pains. These pains are so intense. You don't even want to worry about them. You just want to get a shot. You just want to take a pill. You just want to do something to get rid of it. That pain will strengthen you. That pain will really help you a lot. So just consider, maybe now in this situation where you're not in an emergency, consider allowing yourself to feel the pain, so that later on, when you possibly are in a situation, you can deal with it. It's easier to deal with. So let's see, what else do we have here? One thing that's also, of course, extremely important in the survival scenario is staying in shape, as well as because that becomes a component of your self-defense. You don't have to have any fancy equipment to stay in shape. You don't have to go to the gym. You can't be worried about that in these scenarios. Now, more than likely, you'll be doing more walking than you're used to if you're having to bug out. But as a lot of us found out during this quarantine for COVID, when you stay at home, there's quite a few things that you can do to keep yourself in shape, and you don't have to even have equipment. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats, as long as you are dedicated to them and you are doing them in a regimented way, can get you into and keep you in shape. But you have to be willing to, actually do those. You can't just be sitting around. So that's something that's important to start now. Push-ups, sit-ups, like I said, squats, other exercises that you can do around your home are very important as far as keeping us in shape. I wanted to talk a little bit about cooking. I just want to make sure I have my notes here. Excuse me. I just don't want to make sure that I skip over anything. Okay. So lastly, cooking. Now, the last time that I did the prepping lesson, we talked about different herbs that you can use, and herbs are important. It's important to learn about them. And I actually will provide a list of different culinary herbs that we can use as women, and also that we can just use as far as cooking in general in survival scenarios. But one herb that's very important, and this actually goes back to menstruation, is called red raspberry leaf. Red raspberry leaf tea doesn't have a very strong flavor or anything like that. But if it's something that if you are regular and drinking it every day, it helps your reproductive system so much that once you get to the actual cycle time, it's so much easier and lighter. So look into red raspberry leaf tea. Now, as far as cooking goes in general, another thing that we've gotten away from as women is having the pride in actually providing like meals for our family. As a woman, you become the touchstone for the health of your family when it comes to health that comes from their diet, that comes from the food that they're taking in every day. So that's something that we want to be proud of. Whatever foods that we stockpile and that we have as a part of our prepping, we want to make sure that we're using that as a delivery system to keep our family healthy. So just make sure that you have, your proteins, obviously, beans and the different things that I showed earlier. Quinoa is high in protein. You want to make sure that you have your grains. If you're able to forage and find different things like mushrooms, which are extremely healthy, no matter how much some people don't like eating them. And also greens. We're in Georgia, and there's this green called kudzu, which actually is not native to Georgia. It was planted. It was brought here from China, I believe. But
No.
They use it to, I guess, it's similar to like an ivy. It goes into an area and it just kind of takes over. So it makes a very green space if you have a lot of kudzu around. It also is extremely nutritious. So, you want to get to learning how to identify certain foods in nature so that you can use that to benefit your family in a survival scenario. Let's see. I think that's all that I have as far as the cooking goes. Like I said, I didn't want to go over all the same cooking things again, but familiarizing ourselves with herbs, the way they actually look in the environment is extremely important. So that's maybe one thing that we want to either have if there's a class that you can go to in your area, you might want to do that, or if there's something online that you can do, then do that so that you can so that you can identify the things that will help you in nature. The last thing I want to say is there are tons of resources. I didn't realize until I started preparing for this how many resources there are online as far as just specifically women's prepping. There's a lot of women out there. Some of them are the whites. Some of them are us. But you just want to take the information that you can from the videos that you see, from the articles that you see written, and try to implement them. One of the most important things as far as women prepping goes is whatever equipment that you have, make sure that you know how to use it. If you have a tent, make sure that you know how to pitch it. If you have the stove, make sure that you know how to use it so that you can, like we talked about the clean water, so that you know how to boil water when you're in a situation where you can, so that you can use that for your hygiene.
That's a hell of a point, because I got one of them ovens and I don't even know if I can use it. One of the portable ones.
Right. Yeah.
Never even open it up to see how to use it.
Right. And I mean, that's extremely important. Just like anything in life, we talked about the guns, the sister who was just on,
right.
People buying guns and sticking them in a drawer and never using it. If you don't know how to use it, you spent the money, the $500 or whatever you spent, but now you really don't have a tool for your use. So whatever you have, whatever you decide that you're going to use, whether it's baking soda, whether it's Diva Cup, whether it's whatever you're going to use, make sure that you know how to use it, because that's going to come in handy, and that's going to be the most important thing as far as your prepping and survival goes. And that's it.
All right. Great job.
Wonderful.
I like that.
So for the last few minutes, we're going to Ominiki talked about cooking. So for the last few minutes, how is that done? You're not showing that. So for the last few minutes, when we're talking about cooking, we're gonna work on making some sandwiches.
Okay.
So we're gonna bring the the fight cam around here, and excuse me, this says Balagoon Belay from shooting something else. So because it should be Balagoon Belay or Ominiki or the warrior class there, so excuse that. But we're gonna go around here. I'm gonna show us how to make some sandwiches for our survival. Okay. Say, oh snap! Baba gonna make sandwiches. It's gonna be a cooking class. We should be real. Yeah, we're gonna be cooking. We're cooking with gas, making these sandwiches. You gotta cook to make sandwiches. Sometimes you do. All right. So
bologna sandwich.
right, but this ain't gonna be bologna. Right. So now you see how we're moving around the magic of this ain't Hollywood or Atlanta wood.
Oh, it's called Yali wood.
Yollywood.
Y'all, like
Yollywood. Yeah, there you go. All right. So now, the sandwiches that we're gonna make. That's awful bright. The sandwiches that we're gonna make are palm sandwiches. And I'm going to show you, and then Ominiki's going to actually make the sandwiches. So you say that's what do you call it? That's patriarchal. The man is showing that the woman's going to make the sandwich. Yeah, you all understand in just a second. So it's not sandwich with bread and stuff. It's palm sandwiches. Okay. So one of the first things we do it. We're being for sisters being aggressed upon. Okay, he is being aggressive. So and so. He says he's about to whoop your ass. I'm saying my, but I'm not a woman. But this is good for sisters. So you put the hands up, and the hands should be in a C shape. C shape, like that. Okay. Please, you know, you look like, please, brother, please don't, or please, sir, or please, sister, or whoever you have to defend yourself against. You're here. And then when he goes to reach for you or he goes to punch you, you're going to feed him the sandwich. So when he goes to punch, I feed him the sandwich. So the way that works is I'm trying to feed him my palm. It's a palm sandwich. My palm tries to feed his mouth, and then I got to get out the way, so I bring it down. Working this, you may want to use goggles. I'm going to be careful with them, but it goes down, down. Okay? And I'm going to do this on the pad real quick, and then Ominiki's going to do this to you. If you got goggles, you might want to put them on. So it's going to be there, right? That. Usually the person's face turns away from it, and then you continue to feed the palm. You're trying to feed him to his mouth. Trying to feed him to his mouth. Trying to feed him to his mouth. Okay? And then you get gone. So feed him, you know, a nice platter of sandwiches. Can you give me pads? It can be one pad. It's going to represent his head. All right. So the pad is going to represent his head. Your partner just holds it to the side of his or her head like that. Don't put it in your face because it's gonna knock you right. The back of your hand will hit your nose and the crack in your nose. Right?
If you got a Cody, that'd be good.
Yeah, Cody is good. We know Cody whitening is good for this. If you got nails, it doesn't matter because I'm not thinking scraping like a cat like that.
If you're really mad at your significant other, don't use no pads.
Yeah, just use their face. If you're mad at your significant other and you're stupid, to let you do that. So you're here, you can go here. I prefer to go like this, hands open like you're opening a pickle jar. But you can go here if you got, you know, weak bone fingers.
You cover a wider area too.
This covers a wide and it's more power. You stay relaxed in it, but this is, you know, your real weak bone. You make a C hand. So it supports there. Like ain't nothing wrong being weak bone.
Like the dance that women be doing with dance.
Which is the most ridiculous. I don't know if that's supposed to be a rat, a squirrel, or what that is. But yeah, so you can think of that, but don't do like this. You're just feeding the palm, okay? And since this is warrior class, have it open like you're opening a big pickle jar like that. But that's too much. Your fingers too weak. They rickety. And they didn't go. I'm not making fun of you either.
Yeah, it could be arthritis too.
Could be. You can't do that. You know, or you might be from somewhere else. You know, you might live long and prosper. And you can do it like this. Just have them curved. You know, you can do it like that. Live long and prosper. Hit them up. Right? So you're here, his face, you feed the palm to his mouth, you come down. Feed the palm straight down. After hit, straight down. Hit, straight down. Hit, that's relaxed. So when it hits, it's going to flatten. And then you just straight down. If you have nails, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. Okay? You're not aiming at the eyes or anything, but it happens to him. Cool. You're here. The reason you don't aim at the eyes, 2 reasons. You train the way you fight. Nobody's going to let you train hitting them in their eyes. So you're not going to get that. Even if they did, you only get 2 good shots off. Not much training. So you got shades or anything you put on? I don't want you to. Your eyes get tapped up. So you're here, straight down. It's here, there, right? That's what you're doing. And that comes back to here, right? If they turn, after the hit goes, they turn. You can continue to pump or you can now throw hammer. Boom. Hammer to the jaw, hammer to the back of the neck, hammers. Okay? Or you can just keep it simple. You just hitting, not aiming. That hits his ear. That's bad. Right? Hit the ear, and then when he turns his head down like that to escape that, now you hit. Okay? So once again, I'll go slow. It's here. 1, 2. 1, 2. It's that. To the face. Right? Even that makes his eyes close.
Yeah.
So, boom! Hit with a knee or whatever, or just pop out and get gone.
That looks a lot like the natural movement I see a lot of women getting into when they get into an altercation.
Right, because it's this, the head down and stuff, it takes away
Just a little
power
bit.
of it. So just
Fine-tune it.
fine tune it, right? That just rolls. I'm feeding his mouth, my palm. Whatever else is in there that happens to get touched, it gets touched.
There's some men who fight like that too.
There are a lot of men.
Hey.
Like the men who you mentioned earlier.
So,
They're
oh,
like,
Lord, really?
late.
All right, so now Ominiki's gonna step in. Let's put some shades on.
My safety glass up, about to go back here.
So don't slam it into his mouth. But hey, this in your mouth, bam, like that. That drives your lips into your teeth.
Your lips into your teeth.
It's a bad day.
Yeah. You ever had braces, you know what that feel like.
That comes from Baba, obviously, is but I was thinking about this when he was teaching it is, of course, we're going to put our hands up, but one thing that he was saying is when you have your eyes looking down, it takes away from the power of it. You want to make sure that you're looking the person right here so that you can see when they're about to strike, when their arms are moving, so that you know when you need to start moving.
And this is a perfect position to cover, which we'll get to next. To cover, after the cover, right? Cover. Okay. So he's aggressing. He's about to punch. Your hands are up, right? Meek.
Mm-hmm.
And he's about to punch, and then you give it to him, right? Straight down. Yes. Good.
Even low, I don't want to just don't like that.
And I'm not doing it hard, but
And I do it a little faster. Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna at least close your eyes and
Right.
punch a little bit.
Aim for his mouth. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fingers will be right at the eyes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Push me back further when you do that. Stops me.
and you might get lucky and get your finger into an eye.
Right. So put your hand on his mouth and watch where the fingers go. The fingers are right at the eyes. And so it ain't just luck. That's what it's designed for, right? You feed him the palm sandwich. It's a palm sandwich with the side of eyes. Right. He bent over. You add other things. Get out of there. Okay. Now, let's say he's quick. He gets the punch off. So your hands are here. Bring your hands up. Right. And then when he goes with a slap, cover. Boom. She covers. And then she feeds him the palm sandwiches. If he throws two, she covers on the other side too. And then she feeds him the palm sandwiches. Okay? So that's what we're going to do now. So he's going to throw two slaps. Now, just so you know, I think we dealt with this before, angles. A slap, a punch. This is the angle, the direction we're going. It's the same thing. Slap, punch. You don't say, well, what do you do against a punch? You do that against a slap, what do you do against a punch? It's the same thing. Okay.
So it makes after martial arts great. You don't have to think a whole lot about a whole lot of stuff.
It's simple. You know, what if I'm swinging a stick like this? Now, a knife or a heavier stick gonna change things a little bit. Okay. So here, you could cover against a knife. It's not gonna work that many times. I swing a stick at her. Her hands are up. I swing a stick. Same thing. She takes it on the arm, the bicep, and maybe the forearm. She does not take that on the side of her face or her neck or her head.
You still apply, still closing, still doing.
Got me right. Still closing on them. So if she closes in when I do this too, that stick's way up. I ate an elbow. The stick's way out there. She doesn't get hit. But just in case, that covers up there just to protect you. So against the slap, she's going to cover against two slaps, and then you're going to feed him the palms. Remember to feed him to his mouth.
You ain't my dinner today, god damn it. Oh, you going to slap that thing.
Okay. So again, she made him a whole bunch of sandwiches.
That's it. Yeah. I don't think they saw you hit me in the stomach.
That is such an obvious one, though.
So now, as a woman that's smaller than a man, and if she's being careful with him, give him that aggressiveness. So he strikes twice, 1, 2, then you give him. Okay. I know I hit that hard, so so right.
Okay.
Right. You're trying to just really just rip and tear after you feed him. Okay? Give it to him. Because the one thing men don't expect from sisters is for them to return that aggressiveness.
Right, with the equal aggression.
Just so you know, the African martial arts, 70% of it was created by women. That's what makes it so effective. Because a man his size, you ask him how he would defend himself, a man my size, and then you ask a woman her size how she would defend herself against this, men are going to say something different. Okay. You ask me if somebody is swinging at me, I'm probably going to, not now, but if this came from an art that was purely men, it would be, maybe throw them or something like that. But since it came from women, women have to rely on that aggressiveness. And so that's the hand palms and things of that nature come from that. Okay? So we do that in Tiger Kung Fu. In Tiger Kung Fu, I hope you're doing it realistically. That's all I can say. Whatever art you're doing, you better do it realistically. So why not just punch him twice? If that's where your training is. But I'm telling you, a punch to his mouth is not as devastating as that to his mouth. And then I'm coming down where he is risking being blinded at the same time.
Because the palm gives transfers like energy, right?
A lot of energy, because energy comes from our palms and our fingertips and our hands, okay? Most comes from here. This is why you wear gloves on your hand when it's cold, because the heat leaves from your palm.
I've been in a lot of fights growing up. I never remember getting punched in the face ever. I remember every time I got slapped with an open palm. If it was on my back from a girl running as a kid and she slapped me on the back, but I got slapped on the back of my neck, I felt every one of them.
Now,
I don't remember getting punched.
If a girl ran past and did that to your back, if she does that, it's that.
That slap in the middle of the back.
Right,
yeah. I remember all of them. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
Remember, not the forehead, the mouth.
Right.
That's key. It's a sandwich. So you feed the sandwich to his mouth. There you go. So now you don't have to aim with your fingers. They're going to be right at his eyes.
Right. You're going to get me to back up and cower, basically.
Right.
Right-handed, man.
Not the forehead.
She don't want to hurt.
Remember the mouth. Just don't hit his mouth hard.
I don't know how many times I can train this without hands in it.
All right, that's it for that. I can't take it. It's like, damn.
Hey, that's
he's looking like she kisses him. He's like, oh God. It's all like that. It's bad.
The thing about
but imagine if this wasn't the guy, your eyes are like that.
No, the reason this is really impactful because when he's saying hit the mouth, you can't hit my mouth without pressure on my nose. There's no way to hit my nose. So if you're coming down, it feels very uncomfortable. If you're coming up, it feels very uncomfortable. If you're coming straight, to press my nose down. My nose ain't that small. You see it from the side. You press that thing down like that, that's just a lot of discomfort. A lot of discomfort.
Right. So
the eyes.
It's hitting the mouth. It's hitting the nose. And the fingers are at the eyes.
That's bad. Bad.
And then the explosiveness into it, and then the rate that follows, the person starts doing that.
And I feel like I exploded properly. Should we?
Yeah, explode.
Explode on Cody. Explode on Cody.
Yeah, Cody, we bring Cody out.
Yeah, explode on Cody.
Let's bring Cody over.
There you go. Cody, some of that aggression. Is he in the shot? Yeah, there you go. He in the shot.
Bring him over a little bit more.
Okay.
And Cody don't need no glasses.
Nah, Dan with glass. They don't need no glass. Yeah, give Cody.
Cody said, wait a minute now. So remember, feed his mouth. So remember, explode. So not here, not just here. Cody put this over because his eyes were hurt. Not just here. Right? Step to him. Step to him. Step to him. If he's going back, keep stepping to him. Okay? Right. Take his face and that aggressiveness. There you go. Step to him. That's it. Step to him. I told you about dead now. So you're hitting, and then raking down his eyes. Hitting, raking down. Hit, rake. Right? Aim for his mouth. Right? And step into it. Explode forward. We have our heels raised, but I have my foot flat. For you all, because unless you train it, your foot's not going to be up like that. That adds a lot more power to it too. Right? But your foot flat is okay. Okay. Work that on, if you have a bob, that's great. A bag. If you have a pad, your partner, use a pad.
Let him hold a pillow up to his face.
A pillow, or wrap the hand in a towel. Don't use your just raw flesh like that, because if they have nails, if you all have nails, you're going to tear their skin up. Okay. So hit, comes down. Hits to the mouth, comes down. Hits to the mouth, comes down. Okay.
I feel like it's important for that initial 1-2 to be, because you may not step after that, they may not go back, you may go to the side, but that initial pop should have that.
It has that
punch impact.
Right, it has that in there. Exactly. And just psychologically, your energy, even if you don't say anything, that hitting them like that, and they felt the aggressiveness.
You know, I think of that picture of that woman that's grabbing the police, that old picture of the woman that's grabbing the old police billy club, and she grabbing his face like this. If you ever see that picture of her face, it's her facial expression she making when
and what she's doing is grabbing and clawing his face across there.
Yes,
really,
sir.
it's caught it there. And that's a real shot.
If you see her face, that's the kind of aggression you want to have when you're being violated. When somebody's trying to violate, you want to have that kind of aggression.
And look at his face.
Exactly.
Look at his face like,
she didn't expect that type of retaliation. And that's what Bob was talking about. When you come back and meet that aggression with more aggression, most people not ready for that.
because this, like that, please don't, please.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, that's my thought.
And all of a sudden,
Then you hit him.
the tables have turned.
Right. And quickly they will turn. Okay. So remember, that's the palm sandwiches. That's putting the mayo or mustard or whatever you put on your sandwich, and then right, you give it to them. Boom, boom. Then you feed them, because the sandwich is complete. You can put the condiments on there, and now, boom, go ahead and feed it to them. All right. That is what we want to deal with. That the next time we have, I want to actually, like I said, do a sister symposium where we'll do the warrior class live, and it'll be the sisters symposium. The sisters will be handling everything. We'll bring Brittany back, talk with her, and then she'll have her items set up. Things of that nature, and we'll deal with standing, probably, and ground.
We definitely should.
When we're dealing with that, because we're gonna once again do like 3 hours. All right. So this was a great class. Thank you all. Thanks again to Brittany Russell.
And I want to thank Baba for the assignment as far as the women's prepping. I definitely learned a lot, and I hope that you all did too.
I want to thank you because you did a great
You did. Great presentation. So thank you all. Next week, we actually are going to be doing the versus Warrior Edition.
Oh, right. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so get ready for that. So your favorite warriors and some non-warriors are going to be, you know, competing against some folks. You know, some folks from Warrior Class, from Remix Morning Show. They're going to be competing against, you know, some folks. So you're going to see some versus Warrior Edition. Okay. All right. So y'all stay safe out there. Be peaceful when you can. Be not peaceful when you can't be peaceful. All right. So love y'all. Stay black.
Peace.
Peace.
Good show.